My question for you, what is Christian nationalism? Are there any serious thinking people who self-apply the term Christian nationalist, or is it just a slur used to disparage more reasonable
Yeah.
and nuanced philosophies?
I think we have to fear a certain kind of nationalism. All you need to mention is Nazi Germany. If that's what nationalism is, if it's the worship of the state, then ask Daniel, we can't worship the state. I don't think Christians can run from someone calling us a Christian nationalist if we believe that Christianity, for example, is essential to explaining the American project in the beginning. I will make that argument until I die. You cannot have the United States of America. You cannot have our ordered liberty. You cannot have our constitutional system of government without the Judeo-Christian, the biblical background of Western civilization. You just can't have it. You don't find it anywhere outside the Christian influence world. It just doesn't exist. I do believe that God's truth is to be translated into civic law. Now, by that, I don't mean a theocracy. I don't want Caesar baptizing babies. I don't want anybody baptizing babies, by the way. Let me be clear. As a Baptist, I'm a conversionist, so the last thing I want to do is call my neighbor a Christian if he's not one. I do want to say he's bound by Christian truth, as in, thou shalt not kill. The other part of it is I've seen conservative Christians involved in any kind of activity in the public square trying to influence the culture. We've been called the new right, the new Christian right, the radical Christian right, Christian nationalists, and it's the latest thing we're called for daring to show up and say, we're going to contend for the sanctity and dignity of unborn life. So I'm trying to say, I guess, number one, yes, it is a slur, and I don't think there's any way around it if we're going to say our Christianity informs our understanding of the public square, and we believe not that we want to make the church a state or the state a church, but we do believe that God's truth isn't limited to the church, it's public truth. And I do want an acknowledgement from our government that it doesn't stand on itself. It stands on an inherited tradition, which, by the way, most of the early founders either assumed or actually stated out loud. I do think we have to be very careful about proposals that, from a biblical perspective, mean calling parts of the society Christian that frankly aren't, and laying claim upon a fusion of the church and the state. That has never worked out well, and that gets back to the fact that if you're going to do that, then you have to say everybody's a Christian, and that's the last thing I think we should do. I want the church free to preach the gospel. Hope that makes sense.